Have you ever wondered what it feels like to be trapped with no escape as danger looms? Let's take a moment to delve into the unfolding crisis in Rafah, a city on the brink in the beleaguered region of Gaza. Rafah, a city that borders Egypt, is a place of palpable fear and anticipation, as its citizens brace themselves for an anticipated Israeli ground assault. This city, once a bustling center of life, has now morphed into a makeshift tent city for approximately 1 million displaced Palestinians. And the numbers are growing. Satellite images tell a story of rapid expansion, as more and more people seek refuge in the relative safety of these temporary shelters. The conditions in Rafah have been described as very difficult, bordering on unbearable. The city's infrastructure strains under the weight of its population, with rocket attacks a common occurrence. High prices, chaos and overcrowding are the new norms. The city's crossing into Egypt, once a lifeline, has been closed for months, leaving the inhabitants with no escape route. Israeli leaders have labeled Rafah as the last remaining stronghold of Hamas, claiming that the militant group's leadership is on the run. This looming confrontation has instilled a sense of dread among the city's inhabitants, who are already living on a knife edge. But the struggle for survival isn't confined to the fear of conflict alone. Over half of the estimated 2 million people in Gaza are seeking refuge in Rafah. They face acute shortages of food, water, shelter, and medicine. Imagine living in a city where the basic necessities of life are a luxury, where each day is a battle for survival. Imagine living in a city described as a pressure cooker of despair, with no way out. This is the reality for the people of Rafah, a reality that they didn't choose, but one that they must endure. As we move forward, let's keep them in our thoughts and remember their plight, because no one should have to live in such conditions. Is it possible to deny a crisis when thousands are dying and even more are displaced from their homes? In the heart of the Middle East, Rafah, Gaza, a city of despair is rapidly expanding. A stark contrast looms between the Israeli ambassador's denial of a humanitarian crisis and the grim reality on the ground. Over 2,600 Palestinians have lost their lives in the ongoing conflict. Thousands of bombs have rained down on the Gaza Strip, leaving behind a trail of destruction and despair. The city of Rafah has become a makeshift haven for those fleeing the conflict, with an estimated 1 million people crammed into a tent city. Satellite images reveal a sprawling, rapidly expanding shelter, a testament to the scale of the displacement. Even within the relative safety of the city, the threat of rocket attacks shadows the residents, turning homes into potential battlegrounds. But the crisis doesn't end with the displacement and the death toll. The conflict has severed essential supply lines, leaving the people of Rafah grappling with acute shortages. Food, water, shelter, and medicine, the very basics of human survival, are in critically short supply. Hospitals, the last refuge for the wounded and the sick, are on the brink of turning into morgues due to dwindling supplies. The city's proximity to Egypt offers little solace, as the Rafah crossing into the neighboring country remains closed, trapping the residents in a pressure cooker of despair. The city, once a bustling hub, is now described as a stronghold for the militant group Hamas, with an impending Israeli ground assault heightening the alarm and fear among the residents. In the face of such overwhelming evidence, can we still deny the existence of a humanitarian crisis? In times of crisis, how does the world respond? From the corridors of power to the grassroots, the international community has cast its gaze on the unfolding crisis in Rafah, Gaza. The United Kingdom, for instance, has stepped up to the plate, pledging to increase aid to the Palestinian people by a substantial $12.8 million. This aid will go towards providing essential supplies, food, water, shelter, and medical assistance to the people of Rafah, who are experiencing acute shortages. Yet it's not just governments that are taking action. Humanitarian organizations are also playing a pivotal role. The Red Cross, known worldwide for their disaster response, has been on the ground, providing immediate relief to those affected. However, they've issued a stark warning. The risk of Gaza's hospitals turning into morgues due to dwindling supplies is real and imminent. But aid isn't just about money or supplies. It's also about advocacy, about raising awareness, about making sure the world doesn't turn a blind eye to the suffering in Rafah. Many international organizations and activists are using their platforms to shine a spotlight on the crisis, advocating for an end to the violence and for a peaceful resolution that respects the rights of all parties involved. While the global response has been heartening in many ways, it's important to remember that it is a reaction to a crisis, not a solution to its root causes. It is a band-aid, not a cure. The people of Rafah need more than just aid. They need peace, they need stability, and they need a future where they can live without fear. While aid is crucial, it is not enough to address the root causes of this crisis. What does the future hold for the people of Rafah? In the face of adversity, the road ahead is often shrouded in uncertainty. For the inhabitants of Rafah, this uncertainty is a daunting reality they face every day. The anticipation of an impending Israeli ground assault has instilled a palpable sense of fear and apprehension. Yet despite the looming threat, the spirit of resilience persists and is evident among the people. One can only speculate about the possible outcomes of the Israeli offensive. The chaos that has engulfed the city and the makeshift shelters that are rapidly expanding suggest an escalating humanitarian crisis. The city, described as a pressure cooker of despair, is at the brink of a catastrophe. The fact that the Rafah crossing into Egypt, the only escape route, remains closed, adds another layer of complexity to an already dire situation. The city's residents are not just bracing for the potential physical destruction that may ensue, but also the profound psychological impact. The constant threat of rocket attacks and the prospect of losing loved ones can take a heavy toll on the mental well-being of an individual. Yet, amid the fear and uncertainty, there are glimmers of hope. The Rafah community has shown remarkable resilience in the face of adversity. In the midst of rocket attacks and mounting fear, they continue to support each other, finding strength in unity. The city's inhabitants are fighting not just for survival, but also for their dignity and their right to live in peace. The road ahead undoubtedly is filled with challenges. The residents of Rafah are likely to face further hardships in the coming months. The high prices, acute shortages of essential resources like food, water, shelter, and medicine are likely to persist. Yet the future is not entirely bleak. The international community's response might be slow, but it is not absent. Aid is trickling in, and the voices advocating for peace and justice are growing louder. The future may be uncertain, but the resilience of the people of Rafah cannot be underestimated. In the face of such despair, what can we do? We may ask ourselves this question while witnessing the unfolding crisis in Rafah, Gaza. It's a question that tugs at our humanity, urging us to act, to help, to reach out. Despite the geographical boundaries, the political complexities, the endless debates, there's something we all can do. We can extend our hands to those in need, and one way to do this is by supporting humanitarian aid organizations. These organizations are the lifeline for the people of Rafah, providing crucial supplies of food, water, shelter, and medicine. They're the ones on the ground, working tirelessly amidst the chaos, the fear, and the destruction, to bring some semblance of hope and normalcy to those who have lost so much. Your contribution, no matter how small, can make a significant difference. A donation can provide a family with a meal, a child with a blanket, a sick person with necessary medical treatment. It can bring a glimmer of hope in the darkest of times. It's not just about the monetary value, but the message it carries, a message of solidarity, of shared humanity, of love stretching across continents and cultures. In addition to your financial support, you can also help by spreading awareness about the situation in Rafah. Share the stories, the images, the pleas for help. Use your voice, your platforms, your communities to shine a light on this crisis. The more people know, the more they can help. Awareness can lead to action, and action can lead to change. The situation in Rafah is dire, and it's easy to feel overwhelmed by the magnitude of the problem. But remember, change often starts small. It starts with one person deciding to care, deciding to act. And when that action is multiplied by millions of people around the world, it can create a powerful wave of support and change. Remember, each one of us has the power to make a difference. Let's not stand by while others suffer. Donate now, spread the word, and help bring hope to Rafah.